Okay, this is Unit 9, Motivation and Emotion. This is Unit 8 in the textbook. This is the second video, and it is looking at hunger. In the textbook, it's pages 331 to 348. Okay, so hunger could be caused by biological, psychological, and social impact. All of them impact our hunger. What triggers hunger? What triggers us actually to feel the hunger? Well, one could be the stomach contractions. Another one could be our hormones, our body's chemistry telling us we're hungry. And then the last one, it's the brain structure of the hypothalamus, which you should remember, which is part of the limbic system, which is also going to make us hungry. Hunger and thirst. Okay, so the physiological points of hunger. There's actually, you have stomach pains or stomach contractions that send signals to the brain, making us aware of our hunger. A.L. Washburn and Walter Cannon studied and showed how hunger was partially related to the stomach. So that was kind of the first time that they actually did studies on it and found that our body actually gets contractions from the stomach which make us feel hungry. But those with stomachs removed still were able to feel hunger, and that's what led them to understand that there could be other things besides the stomach that makes us really understand hunger, such as the hormones, and we also pointed out brain structures. Okay, so here's a little bit about the hormones. The body's chemistry, glucose. Your body is normally pretty good at maintaining its blood glucose level, because remember, glucose travels in the blood. Yet the hormone insulin decreases glucose in the blood, lowering blood glucose levels, making you feel hungry. Okay, so glucose is a blood sugar that provides energy to the body's tissue. So you need glucose in order to get energy. When your glucose levels are low, you feel hungry. When glucose levels are high, you feel full. The hormone insulin is primarily a regulator of glucose levels. Without insulin, the body does not effectively dispose of the glucose and provides us, and we struggle with energy. So without insulin, we kind of struggle with our glucose levels. Alright, so to recap again, when your glucose levels are low, you feel hungry. When your glucose levels are high, you feel full. We do not consistently notice these changes. Instead, the levels of glucose in the blood are monitored by neurons in the stomach, liver, and intestines, and they send these signals to the brain, specifically the hypothalamus. And then the hypothalamus is going to trigger to us that we are hungry. So besides just stomach contractions, there's a lot going on with your blood and your glucose levels and your hormones that are going to trigger you to be hungry. Okay. In the 1960s, it was discovered that hunger comes from the hypothalamus. Okay, so we talked about this before in Unit 2. There's two different portions of the lateral hypothalamus that we didn't get into. The lateral hypothalamus is when it's stimulated, it makes you hungry. Okay, so it kind of tells you you need to eat, you need to eat. If you destroyed, you'd never be hungry again. Right? So if you were to live without it, it would never tell you it's time to eat. The ventral hypothalamus is when stimulated, you feel full. So this is kind of your ability to understand what it means to be full. All right. When lesions, you never feel full again. Okay, so if you destroyed it, you just keep eating and eating and eating and eating and get sick. You have to come up with a way to understand the difference between these two terms, because many students mix up the ventral medial hypothalamus and the lateral hypothalamus. So make sure you have all the notes written down. Okay, so besides the actual pains in the stomach, and besides the, I would say, specifics of the brain, the hormones are another indicator of why we're hungry. Serotonin is the first one. It's a neurotransmitter that deals with depression. You lack this neurotransmitter, it often, a lot of times, leads to depression and different amounts of, I would say, it's going to either cause you to be hungry or full, depending on the individual. Understanding the different hormones is important. It continues with leptin. Leptin is created by fatty cells. It decreases your hunger and increases your metabolism. It helps you lose weight. Okay. You have Obesity is created by the stomach, and it signals fullness. Okay. And then you have PYY secreted by the digestive tract. And it also tells you you're not hungry, so you're full. Okay, more hormones that help with hunger is insulin. It's secreted by the pancreas. It can decrease levels of the glucose, and when it decreases levels, it makes us hungry. So insulin is in charge of the glucose level. Orexin is secreted by the hypothalamus. It causes hunger. The way I remember this is Rex is always hungry. Okay, when you have obesity, it's the cutoff supply. All right, and then ghrelin. Ghrelin is secreted by the stomach. It stimulates hunger on an empty stomach. And then I just said Gretel was hungry. So that's another term, the way helped me remember them. Set point theory is manipulating the lateral and ventral medial hypothalamus alters the body's weight thermostat, predisposing us to keep our bodies at a steady weight. The set point is your ideal weight. So maybe your ideal weight is 120. Okay. To maintain the set point, the body not only adjusts the food intake and the energy output, it also adjusts its metabolic rate, the body's resting rate of energy expenditure, dropping when less activity is occurring. Okay, so your body is able to manage your weight based upon what's called the set point theory. Okay, it takes into consideration the number of fat cells is determined by genetics to a certain extent. The set point is your body's ideal weight set by the weight thermostat. When the body falls below weight, hunger is triggered and a lower metabolic rate continues. Metabolic rate is your body's resting rate of energy expenditure. So it's how much your body is actually exerting or spending while you're just sitting here doing nothing. Some individuals' metabolisms are much higher than others. Okay, with set point, weight is gained when we go above our set point. Okay, food is increased and energy is decreased. And weight loss is below our set point if food decreases and our energy increases. So it's really hard to understand what one's set point weight is. All right, there's also social issues to hunger. This is a little bit more interesting, I would say. It's asking why we eat. There's a number of reasons why we particularly eat besides the physical pains of it. This is more social. External pressures, eating by the clock, social eating, social facilitation, stress and depression, ecology of food, and neophobias. Okay, so here's kind of some of the definitions of why we eat. Okay, first one is external incentives. You eat because you are purely in the presence of food, and you walk into a Super Bowl party or you drive down the street and you see McDonald's. Okay, you eat because it's there. That's a big reason why we eat. We eat especially tasty, high-fat, calorie food. All right, eating by the clock. At 10:30 every day I eat lunch. Why? Because that's what time the clock says. That's when I'm supposed to eat. Am I even hungry? No, but I'm going to eat by the time I'm supposed to. 5 o'clock, it's dinner time. I'm supposed to eat. I need to eat. Social eating. You eat because you're expected to. You go to your grandma's house and she keeps putting more and more on your plate. All right, it is an expectation. All right, it's a holiday. It's an event. Stress and depression causes you to eat more, or in some cases eat less because of your hormone changes. Okay, ecology of food is going to impact how much you eat. In the United States, it's the portion size or it's the unit bias. So the sizes in the United States are a lot bigger maybe than other places in Europe. So hence why, we are now getting, I would say, eating more because the American society has created bigger portions. Neophobias, just like for our own things, unknown things, they believe this idea is inherited. So you won't try new things, essentially. You'll never eat anything that's green because you think that maybe it is gross. Or you won't try a new cheeseburger because you don't eat that meat. You're afraid of it. Taste preference, bio or social. Body chemistry and the environment factors together influence why we feel hungry. but they don't know what we feel hungry for. Okay, so chase preference, is it more something that is culturally based, or is it more my body's actually craving it? They think it's a little bit of both. Okay, anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder in which a person is underweight. However, they still psychologically feel fat, and a lot of the times they still continue to starve themselves and they refuse to eat. Bulimia nervosa is an eating disorder characterized by episodes of overeating, binge eating, usually high caloric food, followed by vomiting, laxatives, fasting, and excessive exercise. So they're going to eat a ton and then they're going to work out to burn off all those calories they just took. Binge eating is reoccurrent binge eating without any type of purging. So you could also have an eating disorder where you just eat continuously, and sometimes you don't purge. All right, and then body images. The Western culture tends to overemphasize thin body image more than other cultures, and cultures who have put more emphasis on appearance have higher rates of eating disorders, so they notice that. Okay.